Response video to Fred regarding a couple of videos he made. So the first one was kind of creepy. Anyway, so he's got sort of a theory running in his head that maybe our consciousness is sort of related to our sexual practice, and the fact that we engage in sexual fantasy and self stimulation and satisfaction. We'll call it. To be a little more clinical, yes, we spank and wank and all that kind of crap. And the other primates don't seem to engage in this kind of behavior as much. So anyway, all right. Well, the first argument I make is that yeah, well, we've been pretty unnatural for a long time in terms of our sexual behavior. So a lot of that's going to have an effect on how what we do sexually. Wearing clothes, the whole, hands off unless you're married kind of thing. Women don't go into season, so that's sort of been broken, that cycle. Somewhere in our history we broke free of that tendency where women sort of present themselves to a male for sexual activity. So a lot of things have changed in terms of how we play that game. Also, we don't have an official boner anymore. We don't have a penal bone. So our functionality is just very different, and so when we basically learn how to think about things in terms of these future results. So that's also part of our psychology. So we sort of know that we can get there. We can cheat the mechanism, where primates just don't get that. I mean, they just don't. They're not completely idiots. I mean, they can figure out how to get the peanut out of the damn jar of water, but yeah, maybe they can't figure out that. Oh yeah, it tends to work out this way. If I wank on this thing, it'll give me satisfaction. I'll get a nice nap, and it'll be all good. There's also, the truth of the matter is that for most other organisms, they're still in the natural world, so they really can't waste their sexuality. They've got to always be ready for the opportunity to impregnate a woman in maybe some sort of opportune moment, and so they really can't go wasting it. Where humans for a long time get pregnant in a very selective way. They don't get accidentally pregnant, so to speak, quote unquote. It just doesn't happen spontaneously in a field somewhere. For a long time, it hasn't been that way. Where for other animals, that's sort of the way it works. I mean, certainly for the silverback, he doesn't need to be whacking off because he's going to have his choice anytime he wants it. For the dominant alpha. But for all the beta males, they sort of have to wait for opportunity to knock, and their genes aren't going to get into the future if they just spent themselves. Yeah, then it's sort of they're genetically the game is over. They've put their game on the ground, and so their game isn't going to go anywhere. Obviously, for humans, that's just really not an issue anymore. The losers know they're losers, and so they might as well whack off because they're not going to, opportunity isn't going to likely knock. They've got to buy the chocolates and the flowers and all that other crap first. So I think that's all a large part of the equation. Women just don't get pregnant by loser males. It just doesn't happen. So their loser males don't, there's no incentive not to whack off. Anyway, where do we go from there? Yeah, so I'm just saying there's a lot of, you're going to have to go into a lot of the physiology. And then I guess you'd have to say, I mean, I haven't seen any real, research. I mean, I can't think of any anyway. I mean, they usually, National Geographic, when they told you about what all the primitive tribes people do, they really didn't usually list masturbation practices on the list of things they do, So I'm not too sure about whether human beings in a more natural environment do this masturbating thing. So you'd probably have to look into that and see if you can find what tribes, engage in any kind of masturbation or Tory behavior. and which ones don't, and you know, that's like sort of anthropology, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think it's kind of a loopy theory. Yeah, you know. Yeah, I really, and I really, I've said it before, but I really don't like the distinction you make between, I mean, using the same word anyway. I mean, really, I come up with some other word for it than this self-aware thing. This effort to make distinctions between animals, and especially higher primates, and humans. And I don't think their consciousness is diminished. Their intelligence is diminished. They're not as intelligent. They're not as knowledgeable. They don't know physics and chemistry, and they don't even know like weather patterns very well. They don't know a lot of shit. They're ignorant, but they're not dull witted. They're not unwitted. They have a wit. They have a sense of humor. They have emotions. They have a I think they do have a narrative. You know, it's probably not as coherent as ours in terms of time and place and history. Yeah, that would be another thing you'd have to look into, is maybe, you know, nocturnal emissions. Do primates have those? You know, do they have sex dreams? Stuff like that. So anyway, yeah, I just, you know, yeah, I didn't like that, you know. It's a little too kinky, and I think it just distracts. Bottom line, I guess my objection would be, this sort of sounds like it's sort of a trivial way to talk about what we are, and what we are is, I mean, I just don't think it's deniable. The key ingredient to making us is vocabulary. It's having enough words. There's some other organisms that have a few words. They have some communication, but they need a certain number of words. It's the Helen Keller scenario. I'll go over that one again. That, you know, Helen couldn't function with a limited vocabulary. She needed to understand that it was a language, and she needed enough words. And then when she had those words, then she could start talking, metaphorically. And that's what we are. That's the distinction. And the difference between us and primates is probably just a little bit of a change in how the brain is wired. Not in mass, not in raw structure, but in just like an idiot savant. There's a change in our brain that might only involve 1/100th of our brain, 1/10th of our brain, some tiny percentage, some small percentage of our brain structure, that allows us to do this vocabulary thing, to focus vocabulary. I mean, you can sort of see it in primates. They are a lot more olfactory motivated. You know, so their senses, I'm going to argue, their senses are heightened, and that the price we've paid for our intelligence is that our senses are duller, because now we're devoting sense space to processing conceptions space, to doing the arranging of memories and ordering of the words we associate with our memories and our images. And so we've sacrificed some awareness sensually to acquire that higher intelligence. And so in a sense they might be more conscious than we are, and in a way we're insulting consciousness to say it's something that only humans possess. And so I guess I would just say there needs to be a word like a conceptual consciousness, or an intelligence. You know, I mean, there are words that say it. Intelligence is really the game, and intelligence is acquired through vocabulary. If you don't have a vocabulary, you can't learn, and that's it. Bingo, end of the story. You can learn if you have the vocabulary. All right, and it's just a matter of getting an ape over that little threshold of getting enough words. 100 won't do it. 500 might not do it. It might need to be 1,000 before they can actually communicate like one of us idiots. Anybody, so the other subject was the morality shit, and I like the video because you're you know, you're making the argument in a way that there's some of this argument can't be denied. And I kind of like the analogy that You know, if pain was just a pile of subjective made-up nonsense, then yeah, we wouldn't be spending billions of dollars to avoid that suffering. um, you know, quite obviously, it's a negative, or we wouldn't be buying our way out of it um, quite consistently. Uh, I mean, nobody's selling a give you pain pill. You know, that would somehow there's no market for it, not any market at all. There, I mean, I don't think you could, you know, it's not even available. You can't buy the pretend you have cancer pill. No one's buying it. So anyway, all right. So the argument I would make is, but then you sort of argue that these value equations get way too complicated and blah blah blah, and I'll certainly concede that it's way too complicated. But that's sort of the interesting part of it, and that's, I mean, I really wish we had that capacity. I mean, there's the Homer Simpson episode that I really liked, you know, one of the Halloween, you know, a long time ago, old episodes. Well, anyway, he has a toaster that's a time machine. He goes back in time, swats a dragonfly, the whole world changes. Um, you know, he keeps going back to try to fix it, and he just keeps getting worse and worse, and so he finally just gives up when things are only a little bit bad. Um, so, but just this whole idea that these little tiny events change everything. I mean, if I kill myself right now, it's a different world than if I don't kill myself. And it'd be so neat to be able to see the difference, to see exactly how things change. I mean, if somebody dies, like your brother died, well, your brother might have married somebody, okay? And so now somebody else who had married that person won't be able to marry that person, so they'll marry somebody else. And that person is going to be married to somebody else, is going to marry somebody else. And there's this whole huge chain of reaction that takes place because of this one little change. So this one little change changed the lives of, you know, hundreds, thousands, millions of people potentially. Maybe a guy who was going to assassinate the president ends up, you know, not assassinating a president because your brother lived. Even though it doesn't seem like there should be any connection, there would be a connection because of the cascading of connections. And I think that's just, yeah, it'd be just brilliant, you know, if we had a computer powerful enough to be able to put the scenarios in and see exactly how they play out. So yeah, none of us we can know for certain. We can only go by these probabilistic tendencies. So we know that it's stupid to drive drunk because there's this huge risk, let's say, even if it's not huge, it's an unacceptable risk of this horror taking place where some family will be unnecessarily ruined because you needed to go to the liquor store to get even drunker. So yeah, that's bullshit. So you say, no, it's immoral, it's unethical, it's nonsense, it's crap. You can't do that, fuckhead. And so we can know the rules. But I mean, obviously, there's going to be some circumstance where you prevented the drunk driver from killing the axe murderer. You know, it's going to be some ludicrous, you know, lightning strike kind of improbable event will be part of the reality. And these assholes who sit there and negate going with the 99% of the time reliable truth because one time it will fail. And yet when you apply that, when you try to reverse it on them and say, well, let's go the other side and say, you know, well, yeah, well, maybe most people, when you have a baby, they're going to grow up to want to be alive and they'll really like the game they're in. But what about that one who won't? How do you justify that imposition then? How do you justify destroying that one individual who didn't want to be here that you forced to be here? Then they negate that as being irrelevant because it's only this one out of 100. And so that's sort of a hypocrisy there. But yeah, we can't eliminate, we can't perfect this predicting the future thing. But the fact is that we can go with do the rational thing, which is choose the probabilities, go with the odds. You don't go to the gambling house and bet against your own odds. You bet the odds. You play blackjack by the odds. You don't sit there and say, I'm going to do exactly the opposite. I'm going to pretend, you know, when I'm at 19 that I'm likely to get a 2 or an ace. You know, yeah. You know, it just seems, I don't think there's any problem. We can sort of define the thing we're trying to avoid. We can just call it waste. I mean, harm, I think is an okay word. This flourishing thing, like I said, that's I mean, I understand you're saying, okay, there's this more complex definition of the word flourish that's 2,000 years old, but no one's going to use that definition, so it's sort of a bogus word in my opinion. Because most people aren't going to consider flourish, you know, satisfactorily enjoying doing the ethical and correct thing. That's not how they're going to see the word flourish. They're going to see flourish in, I get mine, who the fuck cares about everybody else? So yeah, I say fuck that word. And again, it doesn't really address the real issue, which is not you satisfying your heroin addiction in a nice, efficient manner. The point is well, first off, your heroin addiction doesn't need to exist, and if your heroin addiction is doing any harm to the external world, it's got to be accounted for. You've got to account for that. You've got to justify it somehow. You've got to be creating something with that heroin addiction, somehow creating less harm somewhere else to justify the harm you are creating, or it's just a bullshit addiction, satisfied for no good reason but your own compulsion. So yeah, I like just going with the term waste. I think that works. So if we can just define unnecessary suffering, sloppy, reckless suffering as waste, yeah, let's fight against the waste. Let's fight against the waste of keeping a dead person technically alive, you know, for 10 years for no good fucking reason, at the waste of all the good that could have been done with those resources. Let's recognize that some rich asshole, you know, who's living a stupid fucktarded life and been through 6 or 7 wives, and he's a miserable drunken slob anyway, and he's wasting millions or billions on houses and boats and yachts and travel and palaces over in other countries that no one's living in, all kinds of other nonsense, that yeah, he's a big pile of fucking goddamn waste. And that maybe we should find some better way to spend those resources on something more socially productive. Yeah, there's no problem with calling that unethical, that kind of waste, that waste of resources, and let's not deny it. Every single dollar is value. This represents value. This represents work. You can get people to do things for this. Constructive, productive, socially useful things with this money. Or you can get them to waste their time gold plating some asshole's toilet. But this has value. It's made out of blood, sweat, inconvenience. It's made out of death. People die for this shit. Alright? So this is death. Alright? You don't waste it. It's blood. All money is blood money. This is made out of people's blood. You don't waste it. And there's nothing wrong with having an ethical equation that emphasizes, yeah, don't waste it. But yeah, let's be pragmatic. Let's accept we're human beings, we're selfish bastards, and all that kind of crap. But when we're talking the philosophy, let's try to rise above being our petty little selfish assholes and saying, well, still, I like chocolate ice cream. Chocolate ice cream's better than vanilla ice cream. No, let's stop. You know, let's not do that when we're philosophers. Let's do that in our real life. Let's be sellouts in our real life. But as philosophers, let's try to talk the truth, and let's try to motivate each other to act the truth. Let's all try to be true to the truth. Ooh, that's a good title. I'll go with that one. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And my only criticism of your videos, it sounded a little defeatist. It sounded a little bit, oh, it's just way too complicated. We can't think of all the permutations and all the consequences and all the blah blah blah, so let's just be assholes. No, I don't think we have to be assholes at all. Well, yeah, to some extent we do, but we can move in the direction of non-asshole, and we will move in that direction if we are more often nagging each other about the fact that yes, we are basically assholes, selfish motherfucking pricks, and that we as groups at least should be able to agree that yeah, let's not have selfish bastard prick law. Let's try to have laws anyway, and ideals and social memes and norms that encourage people to rise above their petty, selfish, asshole nature, and strive to be more efficient, more productive, more constructive, more useful, more value focused, more aware of the simple truth that we are all just individuals of equal value, somewhat different functionality and use in some ways, but that the fundamental fact is that each sentience has a value, and it doesn't matter whether this one is happy or this one is happy or this one is happy. It doesn't matter if this one has cancer or this one has cancer or this one has cancer. The cancer is always bad. The happiness is always good. Let's try to maximize the equation so there's as little of the suffering and as much of the happiness as possible. Let's get rid of the waste, because that's the obvious big picture right in our face kind of bullshit. Yeah, so let's pay attention to that. And yeah, but you know, this, it's almost naysayer to start pointing to the impossibly complex circumstances that might exist in terms of defining the ethics of divorcing your wife and what the consequences are. Some kind of, we know the real obvious ones, okay? There's real obvious waste in our civilization. Let's get rid of the obvious waste of forcing people to live who don't want to live, of wasting resources disgustingly on nonsense, when people can be, their lives can be fundamentally and radically improved with the resources wasted on this trivial crap. Let's try to enforce better memes, like, well, you really don't need, can't you play a video game? Do you really need a whole sports stadium and heroes to worship and people sweating and kicking each other in the nuts? Can't you just watch a baseball game from 1975? I mean, do you really have to watch a new one? Do they really have to play the game again? How many times have they played baseball? Haven't you seen it all? Is anything new going to happen in a baseball game realistically? I mean, maybe somebody's head will actually explode. They'll have a stroke or an aneurysm, and their head will actually explode. That might be interesting, but we really need to keep playing baseball just so you can see that kind of, maybe a car, a truck will crash into the stadium and it'll blow up and fire and bodies, and maybe something like that will happen. But is it really worth continuing the nonsense of playing this game over and over and over and over and over and over and over again for that? Come on, people. So, but those are the kind of arguments we should be having about the fact that we have all these diverse interests. People want to climb mountains to get off. It's like that, oh, I can't have a good orgasm unless I'm at 17,000 feet, on top of the mountain and the wind's blowing just right. Well, oh yeah, then I can get off. I mean, if it's that hard for you to get off, fella, just give it up, okay? You're a failure. So anyway, enough of a video. And such, and so forth. Till next time.